All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're live again. Um. So for some.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
No.
just gotta say, so I had this Nickelodeon ad. You know what I think the most insulting thing is?
Yeah.
They are 100%, whatever this show Warped is, they are 100% using the set for the house, the apartment from iCarly, and they just thought no one would notice, but I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so oh, fuck you, OBS. So anyway, for
Just
some
reset
reason,
the bitrate again?
no, I changed the bitrate down to 3000 and the output back to 720, which it should have been this whole time, but for some reason wasn't. Its settings for some reason reset again. But yeah, I just set it down to 3000, and the output to 720, and it's still telling me that my encoding is too slow.
It's only 720. Wait, hang on a second. Twitch, what do you try and claim it is? No, Twitch is saying it's 720/60.
Yes.
Oh, also, it's giving video options at the moment.
Of course it is.
Congratulations, Sneaky. No one more important than you is currently streaming.
I am aware.
Lots of people are.
What's my fucking encryption rate even? Oh, I'm using an NVEC encoder. Is that not what I'm supposed to be using? Anyway, it looks like the stream's dropping less, so fuck it, I'll look at it afterwards, whatever.
We'll take it, I suppose.
The wise king telling him what to do to survive until help arrived. Now, years later, Issei has returned with the power of the Void system. That's cringe. Fine, let's read it. Okay,
You all right there, Sneaky?
I have no idea what's going on in this author's note. Apparently this dude has 2 accounts that he posts fanfiction to.
Oh, why would you do that?
I don't know.
Why would you out it?
I don't
Bloodfiend
know.
123. Wait, haven't we touched Bloodfiend 123 before?
Doesn't
Possibly?
look like it. No, definitely not.
Huh.
Unless they deleted something.
I mean, I suppose it's a good thing that we haven't, but boy.
First chapter holds the summary. Couldn't put it here. That means that you're shit.
Okay, I'm sorry, I gotta click on this one first. This summary is just... Ruby, Ash of Grimm. In the world of Remnant exists many things, but one of those things is like a condition or something. Can Ash Auburn, 17-year-old boy, survive despite having a condition, or will he perish? Will he become a hero, or will he become a monster? Will people accept, or will people deny him? The fuck does that mean? Will people deny him? I don't think you exist, Ash Auburn! Oh no!
I mean, they may be saying
Snap.
deny in the more biblical sense, but still doesn't really.
Cringy. How will he, along with his questionable family, affect the plot of Ruby? 59 follows. Sorry, 59 favorites, 69 follows. Cringe. 9 reviews.
116K.
116 words, 16 chapters. So I mean, that's a decent word count and a decent chapter count for that. But
Please continue.
apparently, chapter 1 has some issues, according to this reviewer.
Oh, please.
Apparently, Weiss is portrayed interestingly.
Oh, huh.
So this story was in fact published in 2020. So this is what, season 8, post season 8,
7.
post season
Season
7.
8 is the one that's supposed to be coming out soon. Maybe it already started. I don't fucking know.
I don't
I
follow
thought
it
it was
anymore.
9.
Uh,
I just remember seeing something.
I mean, it
about
just really feels like there should be an additional season with how fast the plot progressed and how little the characters didn't.
Yeah.
How little the characters didn't.
Yeah.
It's a shame that actually.
Well, the
makes
problem
sense.
is that Ruby is still acting like Ruby from Volume 4, even though effectively like 2 years have passed now. 9 is the one coming up? Okay. So yeah, I had this idea since like Volume 5, which was like 5 years ago now. And ever since then, I wanted to try my hand at writing an actual insert OCO ficko. Also, this has been reading a lot of fic this theme. My inspiration kind of built up over time.
No,
like
no, see, what's
volcano
important here.
ready to pop.
Now, see, here's the thing. I think, author, we should choose a more apt metaphor for your first 4. I would say it's more like an infected, suppurating wound that finally pops and just kind of dribbles pus sadly, much like your prose.
The pus is so old and decrepit that it's solidified.
Yeah, it just kind of slops out. It's just... You should probably just remove the limb at this point.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a Ruby fanfiction. You don't fucking say, author. Hey guys, did you know this is a Ruby fanfiction? I wouldn't have known if the author hadn't told us in the author's note.
Oh shit.
Yeah, in which I will insert my original AC and have them interact with the story. What do you mean insert? Author, I don't think you understand this whole OC insertion thing. This is not a... Insert means they're not part of the story normally. As in, they didn't come from the world of Ruby, they came from our world or something. That's what an insert means. That's why it's called a self-insert, or a friend insert, or, you know, etc. Insert. Okay, so the author already misunderstands the entire genre, so this is only giving me good vibes on what's gonna happen.
You know, when Max and I wanted to insert garbage self-insert versions of ourselves, we just did it. We didn't lie to people.
I don't
We
know,
didn't
I
try
think
to
you were pretty
dress them
spot
up.
on.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Ah, yes, okay.
We didn't beat it. First of all, we didn't beat around the bush. We didn't try to tell people, "Oh, this is an original character. It's not a." No, this is us. Right?
How would that affect the entire original storyline? I don't know, you're supposed to be telling us. Why are you asking us that question? Only time will tell. No shit, Sherlock. I might have to go rewatch Ruby to put some stuff together correctly. Why are you telling us this?
Why go rewatch it? You can just read the transcripts online. The fandom's insane.
I mean, that too, yeah. But I mean, it's like, so...
Why are you saying all of this to the people that are going to read it?
Right, right. Like, I've mentioned before in chapters of Undying Scarab of, oh, we're gonna have to go back and we have to, like, look at some old, you know, Warcraft, Wrath of Lich King stuff and Warcraft 3 stuff and yada, yada, yada. And I say that because we've already started the story. And it's like, okay, now that we've progressed to this point in the story, I have to go remind myself of some of that stuff. That's like, okay, yeah, that's fair. But, like, why are you telling us in the opening chapter that you have to go back and look up some stuff? It's like, why is this in the author's note? Like, this shouldn't be part of the author's note yet.
This should be a year or 6 months later. This should not be day 1.
Like, honestly, chapter 1 author's notes, as far as fanfiction goes, obviously you wouldn't include chapter 1 author notes in books at all. But as far as Chapter 1 author's notes go for fanfiction, it should be very succinct. I had this idea. This is what inspired me. If you are making an author's note at all, of course. I had this idea. This is what inspired me.
This is who's helping me out.
Right,
Oh,
this is who's helping me out, that sort of stuff. This is going to be the setting, and any other important little bits you need to tell us immediately to get us ready for the story. But like, giving us this whole story of like, it's just like all of this is just, you're not building up my confidence in you, author, by telling me all this. You're like, oh yeah, guys, I know I've written Chapter 1, but I might actually have to go back and rewatch Ruby. It's like, so what you're saying is
your
you didn't.
characters are going to be shit. Your place is going to be shit. Your plot is going to be shit.
I mean, it's Ruby, so half that's already a given. But it's like, so you're telling me you didn't know about Ruby until after Chapter 1?
So you're somehow worse than shit.
It's impressive, but let's see if he keeps up. How would that blah 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 blah. But anyway, I am gonna go make one thing straight first. My OC team, not going to happen. What? Having OC be put with Ruby team also will not happen. Okay. Yay.
Small blessings, I suppose?
Here's a fucking medal for literal minimal effort. Will they have a powerful semblance? Who do you take me for? Of course they'll have something that's powerful. Cringe. And as a bonus, a brand new concept I will be introducing into this entire fanon.
Oh.
Silver eyes are boring. So what about a new eye jutsu? God fucking damn it, Kishimoto.
Yeah, it's just Kishimoto's fault at this point.
Yeah.
Oh.
Before I forget, the timeline of this begins after Red's store assault, but before Beacon begins, and yes, if you ask, I am a Roman Torchwick fan. Sue me. Honestly, there's not much to be a fan of, so I will sue you. And
Yeah,
I don't mean like I don't mean like a philosophy standpoint or a personality standpoint. I mean, we didn't really see enough of Roman Torchwick to be like, I'm a fan of this guy. It's like we had him like a total of 5 minutes in the entirety of 3 seasons.
Yeah. To be fair, he kind of stole the show when he was on screen, but that's
more because everyone else was shit.
Yeah,
it's also bare bones characterization. Again, notably in Ruby, the best characters don't have enough time to be ruined by Ruby.
It's
Pretty
like
much.
modern day WoW.
Yes.
The best characters were the ones that are already gone, so they can't be ruined.
I'm looking forward to Friday for that.
What's on Friday?
Team of
yeah,
developers.
that one. Yeah.
Are making a fan WoW in Wrath of the Lich King. And they basically revamped everything to be better, or overall, from what I understand.
Huh.
A lot of people are looking forward to it. They added a bunch of classes
on Sunday.
Yeah. So
it got delayed to Friday because they crashed the servers. Understandably.
A lot of people have high hopes for this remake.
And from in-game screenshots, it looks fairly nice.
Yeah. It was a Grant day. Okay. That's certainly a way to start off this.
Already a grammar error, yay.
Yeah, it was a Grant day to huntsmen and huntresses. Good, okay, alright, sure. In training all over Remnant, the beginning of new semester in which many youngsterers are going to join ranks of Grim fighters and thus support humanity as its paragons of strength. Why not capitalize humanity? You capitalized Grim. That is, well, unless you ship malfunctions midway and you're forced to take train, leaving your precious dust reserves behind. Why would she leave them behind? Also, if her ship malfunctions midway, how the fuck did she get to a train?
I understand the review now. And we aren't even a paragraph out.
Yeah. So on her way to Beacon, the all-important heiress, author, I know you're trying to be, like, condescending towards Weiss with this phrasing, but she actually is extremely important. Because Ruther Tate is terrible at world building, she is literally the heiress to pretty much the only dust company in the world.
Yeah, I would say, even if it wasn't the only dust company, she's the heiress to a multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporation.
That would be like... That'd be like if Monsanto was even bigger, owned even more farms, and was family-run, and their daughter was traveling on a train. Yeah, you would call her the all-important princess or all-important heiress of the Monsanto farming conglomerate. It'd be like, yes, unironically, yes.
Unironically, this is the most accurate title for this person.
They only own all of the food. Of the well-known Schnee Dust Corporation is forced to take your everyday normal train towards Vale. Again, I highly doubt this. I highly doubt that she wouldn't be able to find a Schnee outpost or an Atlas outpost somewhere to send a bullhead for her. She is literally the heiress to one of the most important corporations on the planet.
One that supplies basically the only military.
Let's not
Right?
forget how important her dad is.
Yeah. Ugh, I can't believe this is happening. ... Can't even do an ellipses correctly. She mutters to herself, looking around the train. There was people and faunus here.
What?
Wow. All right.
Taking note of her name. What?
Okay.
What?
Oh boy, there's just a lot to unpack here. Author.
I am absolutely just baffled what this is supposed to mean. There were people and faunus in there which, taking note of her name, would make her father go nuts if she was traveling with the commoners.
Listen.
What?
I understand that Jacques Sneeze is absurdly arrogant. He's not that bad.
I mean, there's just so much wrong with this sentence, both on a grammatical, just organizational, lore-wise.
Everything is wrong with it, essentially. Which is impressive.
Why did our airship malfunction after we left Atlas? So you're saying you couldn't get it fixed at anywhere? You just left an airship in the middle of the wilderness? Like...
Sneaky, did you remember to link the story, by the way?
Oh, yeah, I'll link the story. Yeah.
I don't know why. This is all starting to sound oddly familiar to me, and I'm starting to worry I somehow stumbled on this despite not having jumped into any fanfiction stuff better part of 2 years at this point, except for recommendations.
That's worrying.
I would love to know how you found this.
Like
I
I
don't
said,
know, Mishni.
I don't read fan fiction unless it's a
Bad luck, I
recommendation.
guess. Bad luck? Is that what you are blaming for your incompetence? I mean, to be fair, if you are flying, like, okay, so there's a private airfield near me. I know some of the pilots, right? They are being paid an exorbitant amount of money to be personal
Exorbitant
pilots.
barely even covers it.
To be personal pilots. You better believe they make sure these planes are factory fresh practically every flight. Because the people paying for it have the money to do that. So they make sure that they keep their job. Because their job pays excessively well. And it's very
Let's
simple.
be clear.
All
Being
you do
a
is you
normal
fly
airline
Riptide
pilot
around.
Being a normal airline pilot pays pretty well because you are providing a specialized service.
Yeah,
right?
it's actually
Pays pretty
quite
well.
difficult to train up more pilots. It's like a 5-year process or something.
Right? And that's to fly normal, non-military planes. Like, to fly a fighter jet is just insane. But anyway, point is, I don't even know what the process of getting a rich guy to take you on as his pilot would be.
It's honestly a mix between being skilled, being in the right place at the right time, and knowing a guy.
I was gonna say, I would assume there's a lot of, I know this dude.
Yeah, I know a guy who knows a guy, and then you become hired on as a pilot, and then you have a friend who's also a pilot, and your guy that hired you knows someone that needs a pilot, and so you're like, oh, we'll take this dude. Yeah, there's a lot of handshaking and introductions going on for that sort of job. But anyway, so her blaming him for incompetence is actually pretty fair, because again, if you're flying, oh, this is another thing. It's one thing for your plane to malfunction over land. You can crash pretty safely on land. Water adds a whole new dimension to the oh shit. Especially because if you land on land, you can typically start just scavenging food to survive, and frequent flights going over land someone will spot you, and the update checks and whatnot because of the frequency of air flights. If you don't check in at certain points, they'll be able to be like, okay, so something happened to them, and they'll be able to backtrack your flight logs and be like,
And we can say they
this is the
literally
last
will
point
go,
they saw
okay,
you.
they last checked in at X point, which
Right.
means they are between Y and Z.
Right. But the problem with ocean is obviously there's no check-ins when you're over the ocean. There's nothing to check into. And so if you go missing over the ocean, they really don't know where you are.
We say, if you're really, really lucky, you can check in to like
Nowadays, of
ship.
course. Well, yeah, there's that. Nowadays, of course, you have satellites. So it's a little bit better, but even satellites are still off by thousands of feet, and then doesn't take into account drift after crashing, doesn't take into account tidal movement, doesn't take into account all sorts of other things that would just put you miles off of wherever the satellite guessed your plane's location was. But yeah, so point being is if you're going over the ocean, you really make sure your plane is working. You gotta really make sure your plane is working.
Or, your name is Amelia Earhart.
Well, apparently she actually crashed, and the crabs might have eaten her. Is the current belief?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's the current theory.
Jokes aside, as far
Yeah.
as we know, Amelia Earhart actually was a reasonably talented individual who knew what she was doing with a plane, and did as much as she could, but working with vastly inferior technology with vastly inferior resources.
Yeah.
So
But anyway, so yeah, anyway, so point being, the author is trying to show Weiss here as like this bossy, domineering, dismissive person.
which, to be
referring
fair, she 100% is.
Oh yeah, she
in this
absolutely
scene,
is.
like-
But she's also correct. Because either they could have put down at some other location, some coastal port or something, or they crashed in the wilderness, which makes me question how the fuck they got on a train. So clearly, if they got into a train and they're still in time to get the beacon, it means they crashed close enough to civilization for her to get onto a train at a train stop. Theoretically. I'm going to assume the train didn't just stop in the middle of the wilderness because the guard stood on the tracks and tried to wave it down. Trying to go with the least ridiculous option here. Which is to say, they had to bring it down or they crashed near town and they were able to get to the train stop and get on the train. Which begs the question of, why couldn't they fix it? If they can get on the train, then why can't they fix it or contact Atlas or the Schnee Company to get another airhead or bullhead or whatever? First off, second off, why do they have to abandon their dust?
I mean, right? The only possible implication of that is they crashed near enough to be within walking distance for a train, but too far to lug multiple crates of dust. That's
Right.
the only thing I could think of.
True, but at the same time, dust is supposed to be expensive, and apparently Weiss was carrying like the most
Chestfuls?
expensive.
Chestfuls of very expensive.
Yeah. So it's not exactly something you would abandon unless you really, really, really had to. So I don't know, man. There's so much weird going on here. Like I was saying, the author's trying to
that
portray.
weird thing is called bad writing.
That's fair. Like I said, the author's trying to portray Weiss as the one in the wrong because then he follows this sentence up with, "She cut him off, saying that this was somehow his fault." Because we don't know, because the author didn't tell us obviously how the plane crashed or the bullhead crashed or whatever. I don't really think you would use a helicopter to cross an ocean though. That just feels silly. But that's Ruby for you. So we don't know how the bullhead crashed. But the author is trying to imply that, no, it was totally just bad luck that this bullhead crashed, despite everything I previously outlined. And then that makes Weiss in the wrong, blaming him for incompetence instead of him being like, oh, it was totally just bad luck, So, bad writing, yeah. Snowy mountain range, not farther from the border of the Kingdom of Vale. Wait, not far from the border of Kingdom of Vale. Vale doesn't have borders. Vale's only border is with Vacuo and Mistral, last I checked. Or is Mistral its own continent?
Mistral was on its own continent. Atlas was on its own continent. So
yeah, Vale and Vacuo are on the same continent. I know that much.
Apparently, the author has made a bridge for trains across an entire fucking ocean.
No, let's be clear. An entire sea monster infested ocean.
If it wasn't for the sea monsters, I'd say that's probably an okay investment.
Not
again,
really,
sea
honestly.
monsters.
Making the farther out in the oceans you get, the harder and harder it gets to build suspension bridging and concrete pillar bridging as well. Like, I think China has the record for the longest bridge, and that's only like 28 miles.
Okay, hang about. Only 28 miles, Sneaky.
Okay, but you gotta keep in mind, ocean is thousands of miles separating Vale and Atlas.
Yes, I understand. I do want to point out, let's not diminish the wonder of a
It's
28
very
mile
impressive.
bridge.
However, I would never drive on it considering Chinese engineering. That's the last place I would want something to collapse under me while I'm in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Yeah.
Vacuum and Vale, yeah, Vacuum and Vale, yeah, Vacuum and Vale have a border, which apparently she's somehow. So for some reason, okay, let's get this map up because the author is high. Do we have a world map?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, right there. So there we go. So, according to the author, fucking fine. Copy this image. Paint. According to the author, her plane. Where's the yeah. So according to the author, she started here, flew all the way over here, crashed here, and then took a train this way.
Nice.
Damn, that's some shitty rail service, brah.
Oh. Hmm.
Like, that's the only way she could be approaching the border of Vale from anything. Like, that is the only way she could, by train, approach the border of Vale.
It's probably not the safest flight path either, going directly over the Dragon Continent. That's
Going directly over
pretty
the
heavily
Grimlands.
implied to be the heaviest portion of the Grimlands.
Hmm?
Like that
It's like Australia and the Grimlands, or maybe that's Brazil. It looks like South America, actually.
I'm not sure, but like that continent doesn't, as far as we're aware, has nothing on it because it's just Grim. There's no
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I
that's
thought
what yeah.
Menagerie was supposed to be Australia.
I believe this is Menagerie, I think, right?
Is it
Look,
the
find
island
the
in the lower
tiniest,
right?
stinkiest little
Yeah.
island that looks
Yeah.
like a hellhole. That's gonna be Menagerie.
Or wait, this is Menagerie?
There's a lot of tiny islands that could be hellholes. It's not a very detailed map.
I mean, like, this is the other problem. So this is the problem I have with the Grimlands as well. So the Grim are attracted to negativity and blah 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 blah.
Yes,
So-
yes, yes, all that.
Why are they attracted to the Grimlands? If there's no people on the
civilization.
Grimlands, then why are they attracted there? Why is there
Sneaky.
Grim in
Because
the
the
Grimlands?
only people who are in the Grimland, it's really simple.
Yeah.
The Grimlands is where all the Warhammer 40k players are.
Oh yes, of course, that makes sense now.
It really does.
You know, I think it's just theorized that that's probably where Salem's castle is. We still don't know if that continent has anything on it aside from being in the shape of a dragon.
Well, I mean,
Need
yeah,
to be
but,
anything else?
well, see, that's my point, though. It's like, okay, so say maybe the pool of ultimate evil. Let's make this big thick line, make it red. Say the pool of ultimate evil's right here, right? And this is where all of the Grim radiate from in terms of spawning, somehow. Because again, that's another thing that's been completely not covered at all. Okay, like either the Grim all spawn from here and then go somehow to everywhere else somehow.
Yeah, that gets a little bit even like more confusing in volume 8
Yeah.
because straight up Salem causes rivers of the Grim spawning pools to start cropping up under Mantle, and it starts breaking through the crust of the earth.
So we are confirmed finally that Grim spawning pools do exist.
Yes.
Yeah, and they are able to just straight up burrow through the earth with some sort of limited sentience towards a target.
Okay, so we do have Grimm spawning pools, which means that Grimm can spawn from spawning pools that are not the Pool of Darkness, which means that for some inexplicable reason, they haven't popped up in the middle of cities ever.
Yes.
Except for that one time in Volume 2 with the
No,
whole
underplayed.
train thing, but that's
Underplayed.
it.
No, underplayed. You got it all wrong, man. No, the Dragon Continent isn't close to Mistral, you see. The world is flat.
Fucking hate you.
No, look at the map, Max. He's right. That's a flat world.
Alright, Sneaky, if you're gonna go through with whoever's writing that Ruby fic for you,
Yeah.
you
Who's
have to
writing
turn Ruby into a flat earther.
Ruby's a flat earth.
No, because then, well, actually, yes, because that will help Sneaky generate lots of anger. So yes.
Look, all I'm saying is their technology is based off of a substance that if they leave this atmosphere, shit starts failing, and that's why they've never been able to send a rocket to the moon, supposedly according to Word of God.
Was that just in an AMA or something?
Yeah, that was either an AMA or a World of Remnant thing, yeah.
Oh, or it could have been a thing at one of the panels
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah.
Well, oh, yeah, okay. If they were smart, the explanation for this would
But they
be
weren't.
that the Dark Brother literally just had his pool spread all over under the crust.
See, that's what I'm saying though, is you could totally get
they're
away
not
with
that
that.
smart.
Like, follow me here, right? You could get away with saying the Grim pools are underneath the mantle because their world isn't round. It's flat. So there wouldn't need to be a molten core. How many volcanoes do you see in Ruby? None.
The entire crust is grim.
Wake up, sheeple.
Sneaky. Just as it just makes sense. There had to be a single threat for the planet of guardsmen to fight.
The planet made of guardsmen is approaching your location. Oh god. Orc presence. Light. I love that post so much. There are more guardsmen on this planet than projected atoms in the reality of the universe.
As it should be.
Yeah, no, clearly there should be. Honestly, that is another massively missed out on Grim monster. Is the Mimic.
They had the poltergeist.
I know, right? They just completely missed out on it. Blah 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 blah. I guess we can look at the bright part. No, who the fuck says the bright part? Her bodyguard
bright
said
side.
with caution not to further upset her. The last thing he wanted to do was get fired. Buddy, you're getting fired.
Yeah, you're getting fired
Well,
no
no,
matter
h-
what,
hang
man.
us-
This is
hang
a
on a second.
lose-lose.
Hang on. Let's be clear. The author said bodyguard. Here's the theory.
Yes.
The pilot died in the crash.
That's
This
you
guy
know
might
what?
not. This guy might be able to keep his job.
That's fair, but she did say your incompetence, implying that
but
he was directly involved
Counterpoint.
in the maintenance
Do you think
or
this
flying.
version of Weiss Schnee pays attention to who's the mechanic?
Well, then she would fire him anyway.
True.
Yeah. At least we got to take one baggie of dust with us.
I'm sorry. A baggie is Weiss a drug dealer now?
Yeah. You know what? That's a fucking write that down. I'm adding that to the story. There's gonna be someone that snorts dust.
No, Sneaky.
You got it, boss.
Replace. Oh, what's the angry man semblance? The one who jams dust crystals into himself.
Oh, Hazel.
Hazel?
Yeah.
Just
Replace it
does
with Hazel
lines
snorting
of
it.
dust. Yang would snort dust? No, Yang wouldn't snort dust.
Yeah, Yang's a good girl.
She would do cocaine.
You're not wrong.
Yes, she said, looking at him, putting one leg on top of the other. One large, heavy luggage full of dust. Even crystals are in there, so I guess everything is not so bad at all. Oh, one bag as in an actual suitcase. So I guess the bodyguard is retarded. She looked at him and looked like she was waiting for a response, but as soon as the poor bodyguard tried to open his mouth, we had enough dust to last us a year on the ship. How can any of this have any sort of a bright part? Also, again, bright part. Who the fuck says bright part? I have literally never in my life heard someone say the bright part.
They're probably foreign.
Atin, she's a good girl. Sneaky immediately after. She'd do cocaine. Yes. Yes, that is what we said. Right, sorry for saying that then. Poor guy having to put up a snob like her. It's like, I'm sorry, author. Author, are you a communist, author? Or are you just not comprehending the level of money that you just casually said she lost? It's like, look on the bright side. We were able to do the lifeboat. It's like, yeah, we only lost 5 yachts.
We lost the yacht. We lost the diamonds that paid for the yacht. Hey,
Yeah, it's
we
like,
lost the emeralds
look on the
that paid
bright
for the
side of
mansion.
things. We got a dinghy. Yeah, we only lost 5 yachts only. It's like fucking... Yeah, author. Pretty much anyone's gonna be angry about losing 5 yachts in a single outing. Even Bill Gates, I'm sure, would be like, fucking come on. Even though he can buy 5 more yachts within like a second and not even have to blink at the price, he would still be like, the fuck, man?
Hey, it's to be like, guys, the hell happened?
That's still a lot of yacht to lose.
I'm not mad. Well, I am mad, but I'm mostly just concerned.
Anyway, point being, we don't know that Daddy Dearest gave Weiss this dust. She might have used her pull with the company to get this dust. So this might have been massive profit loss for the company in the possible literal double-digit percentages, considering how much dust is stolen and exploded in Ruby. Like a whole airship's worth of dust? It's a lot of fucking dust. Also, how did she survive a plane crashing with that much dust in it?
Kaboom.
Yeah, like, it should have fucking made a crater. Like, her sneezing with a vial of dust made a crater from her personal dust stocks. And you're saying a plane containing an airship's worth of dust stock crashed and Weiss somehow walked away from this? Author, Jesus Christ, man, you gotta make up your damn mind.
Either this was a catastrophic financial loss, this was a catastrophic mistake from which Weiss may not financially recover.
Or it was nothing. And nothing exploded. Don't you know, Sneaky? No, I don't know. Weiss just built different. Ah, yes, of course. She T-posed at the explosion, and it cowered before her.
That checks out.
German engineering. Ah, yes, of course. To all, can this train go any slower? Almost as if the universe was mocking her, an announcement played out. To all current passengers, we are going to have to make a stop in order to wait for the line further ahead to be freed. What do you mean the line further ahead to be freed? Apparently, a small avalanche.
That Sneaky. That is, I would have heard that. I have heard stuff like that, right? The line further ahead. A train track is sometimes referred to as a line.
Oh no, I know about that. My problem is saying be freed, which implies that it's currently in use by something else. But it's not currently in use by something else. It's being blocked, which is completely different and different terminology.
Yes, but it's not necessarily not colloquially interchangeable. Grammatically, proper grammar, yes. Colloquially, perhaps not.
Apparently, a small avalanche got triggered and blocked the tracks.
Yeah, I was just saying, leaving that aside.
So we got a bunch of angry rocks on the tracks now?
Yes. Yes, that is indeed the case, Sneaky. Right? But, like, I mean, think about it. People, right, when someone is really busy doing something else or they can't get there, I'm not free right now.
I mean, yeah,
Even though the correct thing to say would be, I'm busy.
No, I mean, that's fine, but what I'm saying is that referring to the line being freed would imply that there is a train currently using the line, and therefore they can't, because it's busy. But it's not being in use right now. The line is currently blocked by an avalanche, which is a completely different term you would use than saying that another train is currently using the line, because another train isn't using the line. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Folds hands, I'm not mad, no, I've gone sorrowful beyond mad, that is greater than the distance from one edge of this flat remnant, to the other. You lost not only a bullhead, which is some $400 million, but you lost me 18 crates worth of dust, a single one of which is more money than you would see in your life. I expect this level of incompetence from the faunus on the first day of their job, not seasoned veterans paid high dollar. Yeah, exactly, yes, exactly. That's what the author is effectively saying without saying it, and it's making me support Weiss, not this quote-unquote poor bodyguard.
I'm sorry, all I can think of... Sneaky, I just imagine, like, an Imperial Commissar. You lost an entire dropship
of Baneblades
and 14 plasma guns. Please tell me, are you from Valhalla?
Because you're about to go back. Yeah.
The entire Valhalla regiment twitching at their family's honor being insulted. Because, you know, they're all one family over there.
Well, obviously. But yeah, Jesus Christ, man. That's this author is fucking incompetent. And we're gonna move on after we get done with whatever this section is, because they did write a whole 10k words for this chapter, and I'm not reading 10k words of this garbage. I will leave a review though, don't worry. You know, I figured we had so many streams where we didn't really offer constructive criticism and break down and explain why the author's doing shit wrong, so I figured, why not just pack it all into this stream? Why me? Talk with the staff at train stop, right miss, blah blah blah, stood there, blah blah blah, grim activity, train did stop eventually. I mean, I don't think you eventually stop for an avalanche. I think you immediately stop for an avalanche. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Authors trying to do some lore dump here, explaining who Weiss is to the Ruby community in the year 2020. Passengers were restless, blah blah blah. Good news, bad one. He would probably, almost as he was trying to smooth things out. Oh gods, how bad are the bad one news? Good news, the tracks are being cleaned. And the bad one's news, to the guard shrunk in size. It'll take 2 full hours to finish. Now I have to travel with the common folk, and now I'm stuck here for 2 more hours. Please, Miss Schnee, lower your voice. I mean, mostly people would just kind of ignore him. I mean, like, if some fucking bratty rich kid, which she looks exactly like a bratty rich kid, and everyone pegged her for a bratty rich kid. Most people,
first of all, everyone will have pegged her for what she is.
Yeah, most people would probably just ignore her. Oh, I gotta go with the rabble. Most people would just be like, oh, fucking god, great, so we got her on here.
I'd be like, yeah, do you know what I would do if I heard that? I would just turn the volume on my headphones up.
Mm-hmm.
Because no way in hell am I gonna deal with that.
Blah 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 blah. Why Schnee doesn't take orders from the lesser class? This is just cringe. You're just writing her in a very cringe way, author. You're not making me hate her. You're not making me dislike her. You're just cringe.
That's gonna get even cringier in a little bit.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I would love to know how.
Now she had done flaunting her name around loud like a train. Oh wow. Whew. Okay, so we're gonna play some replacement game here in a hot second.
Oh no, Sneaky, no, don't play the replacement game.
Sneaky, you know what happens when you play the replacement game.
We're playing the replacement game. Oh. Now she had done it, flaunting her name out loud around with a train full of faunus on board is not a great idea.
Now she had author's defense, very true.
Why is capital flaunt? Wait. Now she had done it, flaunting her name out around with a train full of. Just kidding. No, I'm not gonna drop any hard R's here. On board with not a great idea. Her family, her father especially, was responsible for the worst types of abuse their kin ever had to endure. Of course, yes, because the second you say the Schnee name around a faunus, they react like an animal and attack you.
Now, to be fair, Sneaky, if what is being said is I'm Weiss Schnee and I can't believe I have to travel with this commoner rabble, that's a little bit different.
No, not really, no. Honestly, even if she said, I'm the greatest slave owner in the world, and I can't believe I have to be on a train full of hard R's, surrounded by people with hard R's, I still expect them to not kick the shit out of her. 'Cause I'm that sort of person that just expects words to stay words.
Okay. Yes, but my point is, like,
and
I will agree with...
if her point is, I'm surrounded by a bunch of animals, and they react to that statement by kicking the shit out of her and or killing her, that's kind of just proving her point. And any point that the author might be trying to make there with, Weiss Schnee's being racist towards the faunus is kind of just completely negated by the fact that they acted in the exact way she said they were going to react in. So despite what she might have said to make them react like that, like if she's just making general statements, like it's one thing if she went up to one of the faunus and was like, you faunus, get down on your knees and like lick my boot and I'm gonna use you as a footstool because that's all you're good for, and you furry animal fucker or whatever. Like, then I could understand maybe that faunus specifically might take a swing at her. a swing at her and be like, "Get the fuck out of here, bitch." That I could get. But if she's
To be
making
frank, I would understand several swings.
maybe depending on how far she goes with it. Like I could get that. But if she's just making general racist statements and not like targeting anyone specifically, I don't see any justification there. Because, I mean, again, let's play the replacement game. Say there's a feminist on a train, and it's a train full of guys, and she's saying, "Oh my god, I can't believe I have to be here with all these smelly, disgusting guys who are all worthless and disgusting, and I hate them all. And you should all die, men. All you men are sucky and shit." Like, I don't expect any guy to be like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch," and just start punching the shit out of her and kicking her while she's on the ground. And then raping her, because that's what she thinks they would do. But... yeah, that's my point, though. It's like, unless she's like starts smacking one, which then yeah, equal rights and equal lefts. But
Sneaky, I prefer equal rights and equal hooks.
well, no, equal rights and equals lefts is just so much better. Just rolls so much better.
I know, but my hook is way better.
And he goes for the clothesline.
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
Now,
in the morning.
Now I
Gotta
will say,
feel
as
that
someone
one
who has
in the
been
morning.
on a New York sub before, I do expect the peanut gallery, aka everyone around her, to start calling back like, "Oh, well, we don't want to be here with some rich bitch like you," and shit like that. Could you fan your money a little bit? It's getting hot in here. You know, just general peanut gallery shit. I expect that back, you know.
Which, of course, is tantamount to torture.
Of course, yes. But
for
it's
one
always
such
funny.
as herself.
Her family, her father especially, with blah blah blah. Scars run deep. Yes, the racial scars run deep. These faunists who we have no... Again, we don't... As far as we know, they're on the vacuum border, which I don't think, as far as we know in canon, the Schnee Dust Company has basically nothing to do with Vacuo.
Yeah, it's probably one of the few places they have nothing going on.
So, any faunus coming from Vacuo wouldn't really have racial scars from the disgusting treatment from the Schnees? Unless you're saying all faunus are the same? Author, are you making some racial arguments here?
I am so glad that Ed Arn had his internet go out on him.
Oh, yeah.
I know, this is like the best.
Sure.
This is the best day for his internet to go out. I love it.
Because we don't have to worry.
We don't have to worry about certain words being said.
Now, Pedro, I want you to be clipping the shit out of this and posting it and adding Arn with it all, because I want him to seethe.
The fun that we get to have without him.
Indeed.
We get to have nice things when Arn isn't here.
Hey, you, Schnee girl. Oh, man,
okay,
I
to be fair,
freaking called it.
I don't know if these are nice things, but, you know, they're better things.
So I don't know what I don't know who this narrative is from, because it's positioning the guard as like this pitiable figure, and it's like condescending towards Weiss, but at the same time it's like, oh man, I called it. The narrator, totally called the thing I'm narrating happening. Like, whose perspective is this from? Because this is like an active person narrator who's narrating the story, but there is no active person narrating the story. The author didn't establish that. They just randomly went and did what we did with Scorched Earth, Shattered Steel, without actually making the narrator a character who could comment on the story they're narrating. 'Cause otherwise, it's just cringe. A faunus man with 2 friends. You couldn't even spell 2, author? Really? And a younger woman. Oh, so the woman isn't his friend?
To be fair, it could be a significant other.
From some spicy takes from this author with how he's wording his English. Went to her and staring at her with looks full of hate. Are you really a schnee, as you say? The man who looks like to be a rat faunus.
Are you I am a schnee. All white hair, rich, entitled. I'm gonna go ahead and say
You really
yes.
a schnee? As his friends cracked their knuckles, indeed I am. Who is asking if not another animal? I'm sorry, author. Again, she is justified in saying this. I'm sorry. If you're like, goddamn, I'm surrounded by the rabble. Which, again, isn't... Calling them the rabble isn't really insulting.
I mean... Well, it is insulting, Sneaky. Like...
I mean, it is, but it's not like... It's a class-based insult, which I guess that's just me being an American, is that I don't find class-based insults very insulting. Like, you're not insulting their race, their parentage, their heritage. You're just like, oh, you're poor. It's like, yeah, and?
And someday I'll eat you.
Someday I might eat you. Yeah.
It's the little things in life, eh, boys?
But you see my point, though? It's like, she's like, I'm surrounded by the rabble. Like, which, again, isn't very insulting. I can't imagine anyone outside of Atlas was even find that very insulting, because they never really showed anyone outside of Atlas even paying attention to class. So
yeah, like it really didn't appear to be like a thing. Like obviously they were rich people.
Especially in like Vacuo, which is all about the power of strength and shit, according to Rooster Teeth. Like,
well, that and being dirt poor.
I mean, yeah, but like being called rabble by someone from Atlas is like calling someone from France a Frenchie while you're in British. It's like, this is kind of the expected interaction. So it's not like she's dropping hard R's or something on them. She's just like, I'm surrounded by the rabble. I'm surrounded by the French. But if you then come up...
I'm in France, and there's French people.
I don't like this. This must change. Guess the nationality of this person.
I'm gonna say... Turkish?
The correct
Ottoman
answer
Turk?
was German.
No, the answer's Sneaky. To be fair, the answer could also be Ottoman Turk.
That's fair, I guess. Still, it's funnier if I say German. Purge the baguettes, yes. When will the day of baguette come? So anyway, in response to being called rabble, so this dude and his gang walk up to her and go, we're gonna beat you up!
Now,
like,
to be fair, Sneaky, they're more polite than a real rabble. First they ask very politely, pardon me, ma'am, are you actually white Schnee? And then they proceeded to rabble-rouse.
Right. Indeed I am, if not another animal! I mean, yeah, I would say that to someone threatening me. At her words, the man barely held back from punching her. I believe this author is a believer in words are violence. Or has some very interesting takes on race. Because, again, you gotta remember, everyone, this is canon to Rooster Teeth. This is official Rooster Teeth lore. The faunus are black people. Just keep that in mind. So either this author is farther right than the mainstream media could ever even put on a graph. Or Or he votes Democrat. Anyway, so all of so blah blah blah. The bodyguard was super buff. And a fight would get them all thrown off the train in the middle of nowhere, which is probably not good. Yeah, admittedly, being thrown off a train in the middle of nowhere while you're surrounded by Grimm, probably not a great plan.
I don't know. Would they throw them off? Like, because that.
I would say yes. Because here's my reasoning here, right? So, Grimm are attracted to negative emotions. The train has just stopped. And obviously, people are not going to be happy. They're going to start feeling quite negative emotions about this. Which, honestly, I think I think if you were going to have an economy and a world based around the idea of monsters being attracted to areas with people and negative emotions, and then you have some sort of transportation failure that causes a lot of people to have sudden negative emotions, because you can't really stop that initial burst of disappointment, dissatisfaction, and etc. when you hear that your car is broken down.
You've also got to include fear, like.
Right, yeah, that too. No, yeah, right. Your train is also broken down in the middle of the wilderness, or been stopped by an avalanche in the middle of the wilderness, and now you're vulnerable. And like I said, honestly, I think if I was a company that ran trains, or even state government that ran trains, I'd be like, all right. Looks like the train has stopped. Here's everyone's mandatory alcohol rations. And here's we're gonna start throwing a party or some shit.
I wouldn't even chance it with alcohol because, right, you don't know what kind of drunk they may be, right?
That's true.
It could
yeah.
be like you'd be better off with something like I don't know. Probably.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying like getting everyone blitzed, but like enough to get everyone drunk enough to be
Well, yeah, but
less
sure, but see,
concerned.
you could probably do the same thing more affordably with Remnant's equivalent of a joint.
You know what? That's fair. Yeah, here's your free weed. You hear, all food is half priced. A whole bunch of other tactics to keep everyone's moods up and keep the
food's half
negativity as
price.
low as possible.
We have an emergency. We have like.
The food's half price. The children get sweets for free.
The movies are free or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah like
the movie's free. For the next 2 hours. Pick a movie. It's free for the next 2 hours. You've got complimentary headphones. If you want to get out and take a lap, feel free to get out and take a lap.
Yeah, just run the whole gamut of we just got to keep everyone's moods up. But so that leads back to what I'm saying is if someone starts a fight on a train that is not able to move for the next 2 hours. So maybe if it was like the last 10 minutes, it would be a maybe. But like 2 hours and that fight starts at the start of that 2 hours, that's going to be enough time for Grimm to start swarming. And the second Grimm starts swarming a civilian train, civilians are going to get scared, which is going to draw more Grimm.
And it's just going to escalate until the train's dead.
So what very much is likely, if this was a quote-unquote realistic take on the world of RWBY, and I don't mean realistic as in terms of our world, I mean realistic as in terms of the premises set by RWBY, there would likely, in the event of such accidents occurring, because I'm sure while they might not occur often enough, there is enough people involved in any potential accident that you would assign a police officer, specifically a sheriff in this case, who is given the ability to, in times of emergency, make judicial rulings.
Mm-hmm.
And the judicial ruling would be, you're endangering the entire train of X amount of people that is effectively attempted murder of 100, 200, 300 people. Your sentence is death.
Yeah. Takes them to the back of the train and executes them.
Right, but here's the thing, right? Surely you could just keep keep the sedative on it, right? Someone's getting rowdy. Also,
Yeah, while true, like I said, it's going to be highly dependent on how you want to style your world, where the sheriff is from, whether it's from Vacuo, Atlas, Vale, Mistral, because each country would have probably different rulings. How dangerous the area they're in is, how far away they are from potential help if something does happen. You'd have to take in all the factors, but basically, yeah, being kicked off the train is the bare minimum I expect to see happen from a fight starting.
yeah.
Underplayed Creation says Weiss would have gotten disowned by Jack after finding out how much of Faunist.com she's been watching. Yes.
Not wrong.
Judge him as a witch hunter, says Nosehair. Shot in the head, no questions asked. Vacuo probably would get away with that. Honestly, of all the countries, Vacuo or Atlas. Which again, if this is Vacuo or Atlas, I don't think these people would be starting fights on the train. Because they would do shit like that.
Wait, no, hold on a second. Underplayed, I've got a much better version
Oh, God.
of that. Oh, Sneaky, what's the security program that parents use to spy on their kids' internet usage?
What?
I assume you know this because you were a network security major.
To spy on their kids?
Like the thing that goes blank user searched a forbidden term or user visited a forbidden website. But it doesn't actually stop them from going there.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Damn it. I know. Anyway, user
Kaspersky, maybe?
Maybe. User searched a forbidden term. Sexy faunus cat ears. Teaching crabs to read. Yes, that is indeed the meme.
My neighbor just got an unsecured wireless printer, so I sent this to him.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Has thrown out the printer.
Wait, no, Sneaky. The ultimate forbidden term.
Yes, there! I was right! It was Kaspersky!
Cool. But Sneaky, user has first searched a forbidden phrase. Are faunus people?
Yeah, are faunus people.
Do faunus deserve rights? Help, I think my parents are racist.
What I'm hearing is I should start stating an Atlas army for Warhammer Fantasy armies. Yeah, absolutely create an Atlas army for Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I guess you could also technically run AdMech.
I guess, yeah. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. This animal lost his uncle in your family's minds and now has been raising his cousin since. I'm here to ask a simple question. And what would that be? Are members of the Schnee family born with a stick up their ass, or was it put up there later? What? Behind him, his friends and cousins started laughing. Holy shit, man, I didn't think you would do it. One of them said as his friend went to support the other One friend said as he went to his friend for support as the laugh took him. What? It wasn't long before the entire compartment was laughing, and Weiss was not going to let that slide. I mean, that's fair enough, author, so you've recovered well enough, but, it was not a great setup, gotta say. I have never been more proud of my daughter, not even when she decided to improve the efficiency of every mind by 40%. Jesus Christ, Greg. In that case, I hope your uncle died a slow, miserable death, and like you faunus deserve any other type of death. And then everyone stopped laughing. Take that back. He would not allow this Schnee to disrespect his uncle. If not for them and their so-called labor at her company, she wouldn't even have the money she has now. Actually, no, she would still have that money. As it turns out, companies are really capable at finding the lowest common denominator to work for them. I know this will be shocking information to everyone who has not even gone through Economics 101, but it's very rare that a company will be forced to pay exorbitant wages for the most basic of labor. And I mean this, of course, in comparison, obviously, to the cost of basic sustenance, right? So obviously, if you're in Venezuela and you're being paid $20 million every day, well, it's only worth a quarter slice of bread. That's different. That's not, you're not being paid actually an exorbitant amount of money. You're being paid a quarter slice of bread a day, which is actually nothing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of poor fucks in Mantle. Yeah, it's honestly why I ultimately portrayed Mantle as a subsistence country based around heavy authoritarian propaganda to encourage people to sacrifice for the party. Because that's really the only way I see a country that has literally no farmland surviving and thriving to the point where they're the most technologically advanced country in the world. And not in China style either. They didn't steal any of their technology as far as we're aware. They invented all of it.
Yeah, they legitimately pioneered.
So, yeah, that's literally the only way I can even support the concept of Atlas. So, yeah. Take that back. Why should I? You all laughed at me, and now I'm laughing at you. It seems simple and makes us all even, don't you agree? The bodyguard was like, ah, shit. There's a lot of faunus around us. You damn Schnee. You know damn well that without us faunus... Honestly, if the faunus all left the mines, all simultaneously left the mines in this current day and age, and none of the poor would work for the Schnees. The robots are capable enough.
Yeah.
In fact, when they aren't being controlled by a murderous, genocidal lunatic, by the way, I wanted to be clear, I'm talking about Ironwood. As far as we know, Cinder's not a
Yes.
lunatic.
Of course.
Well, maybe she is, but a different flavor of lunatic.
Actually, you know what? Thinking about that word, lunatic would kind of take on a different meaning if the entire moon was sort of semi-shattered. It'd be like calling someone cracked, effectively.
Yeah, I get it would still be the same insult, but for a completely different cultural vein.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Incidentally, that is one of my favorite things in fan fictions, when people who have no reason to expect the moon to be broken arrive in Remnant.
Holy
what the hell
shit.
happened to the moon?
What the fuck happened to the moon?
Or one of my personal favorites is the person from Remnant realizing they're not in Kansas anymore because they look up. Your moon's
there's two
fucking
moons.
weird.
Yeah, that's another great one. That's like Familiar, Zero, and Skyrim, where you end up in either of those scenarios, and it's like you look up like, oh shit, there is 2 moons. I am a little bit farther from home than I thought.
I am definitely not in Kansas. Or if I am in Kansas, I'm definitely not sober enough to realize it.
How drunk am I?
Snaps fingers.
Holy
drunk enough to
shit,
see
those
2
were good
moons.
drugs.
No, Sneaky. Looks up, sees 2 moons. How drunk am I? Snaps fingers. Not drunk enough for 2 moons, that's for sure.
Unfortunately, not drunk enough is the answer.
Walks into a bar, finds Crow.
Did
you know the moon's
blah blah. Your
Sneaky,
people are far
Sneaky,
worse.
I've got
crime
it.
Thefts.
The ultimate reason the moon is broken.
The
moon is haunted.
Yeah, of course. The moon
Guardians,
was haunted.
The Guardians broke the moon.
Yeah, the moon was haunted. They took care of it. The moon's no longer haunted.
Oh, that's my favorite thing, and I'm so sad that it was taken down.
It really was great, yeah.
The thing that's most distressing to me is I haven't been able to find anyone who's got the correct version.
So all the fauna started hooting and hollering and beating their chests and claiming that Weiss's grandfather enslaved the entire faunus race. and that the White Fang is right, and that terrorism is good. And clearly the answer is that they should all rape Weiss to death. So yeah. And then a bunch of huntsmen charge in. And see a single girl cornered by a bunch of faunists with her knocked out bodyguard.
What a worthless bodyguard.
Yeah. But
The best case scenario for him is
just
getting...
keep in mind, everyone, faunists are black people. This is Rooster Teeth's official take. This is this author's official take from Rooster Teeth's take. Just keep that in mind. Oh, Christ. Yeah, we're holding up, Nose. What do you gotta say, Nose? Huh? Nose? Huh? And then down in the valley, a pack of Beowulfs gathered, and Griffins gathered, and other bigger things that were also grim gathered, but behind all of the grim, a humanoid figure climbed out. And he could see where they were all heading, and he's like, man, why are people so rotten? And then the huntsmen are like, oh my god, don't you see what's going on? You gotta put your weapon down and let the faunists beat you up. The Grim are gonna show up if they keep being angry.
Makes sense.
And then he's like, oh shit, the Grim are here. Never mind, keep your weapon up. Everyone, fight off the Grim. Run around in a panic. And then, she's like, alright, well, I'll help you hunters fight off the Grim. And they're like, fuck no, you're a student, aren't you? Get over there and protect the civilians. And she's like, oh, it's my duty to kill Grim. And he's like, no, you fucking idiot. Your duty is to protect civilians. Now go over there and do it.
Yes, accurate.
And then so she enters the compartment with all the scared civilians, and the faunist turns to her and goes, damn it, you Schnee, this is all your fault. If you hadn't
To be fair,
talked
it is
about...
really her fault.
A little bit, but at the same time, they all made it worse. She just called them rabble. They continued.
Listen, I'm not saying you're wrong, but if she kept her dang mouth shut in the first place.
Well, sure, but if you have to pick a fight with every single person that says a mildly insulting thing towards a general audience of the people around them every single time, well, you know, you're never going to get any work done. So, they didn't have to gang up and say they were going to beat her to death and then possibly rape her. That was, I think that's going a little bit far.
Would agree.
If not for you, the Grim wouldn't have appeared. That's not true. She threw wood in the fire, but we all knew the moment she got bored she was a Schnee. Wait, you all knew I was a Schnee? Yeah, obviously. Everything about you screams Schnee, but that doesn't matter anymore. We tried to get payback on the middle of a stopped train in the wilderness, and now we're surrounded by Grim and they're gonna kill us all. Yeah. Anyone who apparently isn't a faunist could have seen that coming, according to the author.
Hindsight is not 20/20 for them, apparently.
So anyway, yeah, a bunch of stuff I don't care about happens, and blah blah blah. Grim are attacking people, and they're killing people, and Weiss is killing Grim. Blah 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 blah. Who permitted you to save me? Do you know who I am? Did you grow up in the woods? Yes, I was raised by a bunch of Grimm.
Hmm.
Okay, this story's just dumb. Okay. Apparently this is a picture of the main character. His semblance turns him into a Grimm-like creature. It's stupid and dumb.
Yes.
To be expected, really.
That would have been a thing that I expected of a person from season 1 and season 2.
So apparently that's that guy's main account. Here's this guy's side account. I don't know why he has a side account, but here's his side account.
Can we leave now?
No, I got 20 more minutes.
Can we at least get a different fic?
No. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of the arts culture. So keep in mind, this is a whole year after he posted that chapter, so maybe he's gotten better. Probably not, but, you know, you never know. I'm Blood Fiend, blah blah blah, the Bloody Arc, Drunk Conquest, other works, blah blah blah. Don't tell Nerdy, this is my alt account. I can't promise updates, but I'll try. You might be wondering, in case you already know me, Bloody, why did you make an alt account? Well, long story short, Nerdy hates it when I do stuff that isn't the main story. I've been told before I need to focus on the stories people pay me for? No! No! No, there is no way people pay for this.
Oh, I bet there is a way.
No, 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 no. No, Patreon. No, no, please tell me there is not a Patreon. Okay, it doesn't look like there's a Patreon for him. Okay. Rewrite. Okay. Is there any mentions of a Patreon in the author's note? We've got Nerdy. Okay, so Nerdy is apparently his beta or something. We got his Discord. Nothing mentioning him being paid. A harem of 13 people. Wow. I can believe people are paying for this because that does sound like the exact garbage that people pay for these days.
Ah, I guess oh, by the way, I guess it would appear Alvor did in fact get too drunk to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, Helltaker. So yeah, it's a harem of all the demons and Arc. Yeah, okay, fair, fine. Arc of Hell, maybe? No. Nothing about this on Patreon, so I don't know. I don't know where or how he's getting money, but apparently someone is paying for those stories. And apparently his beta harps on him when he doesn't write those stories. Are you paying your beta? That's the only way I can see them having any relevance at all into what you do. This story was born as a request of a friend of mine over on Discord, and as we both agree on stuff about DxD that we love and hate, including works here on Fanfiction regarding this anime. First of all, the other bullshit that DxD pulls with Issei at all the times. I know the series is somewhat lighthearted and supposed to be comedy-oriented. What the fuck part of DxD is comedy-oriented? I didn't laugh a single part of reading it. I myself as a writer, after getting multiple years of experience and whatnot, cringed hard as fuck when I rewatched the first fight between Issei and Valley because Issei should not have been able to do the things he did. And no, I don't blame this on his OP sacred gear, which is OP even in this story, but mostly on plot armor. Peeps keep saying Divine Dividing is better, but I have my own two pieces to say about that. Divine Dividing is OP and powerful, but leaves very few options as far as the possible development of as it goes as far as versatility. A fact which I again say is not because of nepotism, but by taking a neutral look on things. Why the fuck would it be part of nepotism? Author, you are not using words that mean what you think they mean. But I do agree with him. Divine
Yes.
Dividing is clearly not as strong as Booster.
The thing with those two is, when it first started, in Boost Gear, apparently he had a limit that persons could take. Divine Dividing did not.
No,
Thus-
Divine Dividing had a limit too.
Oh, then I never knew about that.
Yeah,
but-
no, canonically, Divine Dividing couldn't divide creatures that were significantly more powerful than you. So basically what it did was Divine Dividing takes the creature that you targeted's power, cuts it in half, and passes that half of the power to you. But if your body isn't capable of taking that power, then you die, just like the boosted gear.
So
And
it's basically the same thing, or the same issue between the two, but
Yeah,
because of who it was on, and people think it's much better than.
yes. The other thing is the armor that Valley has, with the whole like jets in the back, actually serve as a bleed off function, which allows him to divide people far stronger than him and bleed off all of the energy through his jets on the back of his armor. No, it does. Yeah, only when you're using the armor though, Aura. I literally just said the caveat. Keep up.
We are on a delay, to be fair, but still. Do keep
No, we're
up,
not.
Laura.
We shouldn't be on a delay. All my delay things are checked off. Anyway, I believe I tried to imagine a Valley as the MC getting upgrades and doesn't work too well in that scenario. His Sacred Gear is OP enough, is what I'm trying to say. Being stronger than the BG under normal default circumstances, blah blah blah. I don't fucking care about all this. This is so much cope and seethe packed into this author's note. I made my own twists on a bunch of stuff. I'm no expert, blah blah blah. That always does not bode well when an author says I added my own twists to the story. Many people would prefer to replace Issei, including their own OCs, and removing him entirely, bullying him, killing him off, you name it. Saw a lot of screwy shit. And I have to say, a lot of them are completely disrespectful and insulting to Issei's character. He doesn't have one. Again, I have to disagree with the author on this part. Issei doesn't have a character. There is no character development that ever occurs in the process of DxD. He never gets more mature. He never grows as a person. He is a literal static entity whose only personality trait is boobs. It's only later on he suddenly gains other personality traits that are kind of just forced on him. It's like, oh yeah, he's totally heroic and brave and selfless. Totally, guys. He
None of
didn't
which he's
have
never
those
been.
personality traits before, but now when he needs them, he totally has them, guys. Just believe us. 5-second delay. All right, fair enough. Just totally believe us, guys. He's absolutely got a personality. He doesn't. He doesn't have a fucking personality. There is no disrespect in killing off Issei. As far as Issei canonically should have gone, he should have been kicked out of the... Like, literally, canonically, the only reason why Issei and his two friends were allowed to stay in the high school that they were staying in is specifically because they were friends with Issei, and Rias wanted Issei to be her pawn. And the only reason why she didn't kick out his friends, despite Issei being the only one with power, is because she wanted Issei to like her. And so, if he finds out later on that she's the reason why his friends are gone, he wouldn't like that. And Rias is an extremely vain person. I also don't like Rias. Big shocker. So anyway, there is nothing disrespectful about killing off Issei, kicking him out, bullying him. We are told he supposedly, some fucking how, got into this prestigious school, but is apparently borderline failing all of his classes. I say borderline failing, and I mean that in the Japanese way. I don't mean that in the American way where he's got like D's. I mean that in the Japanese way of where it's like shameful to have the grades he has. And yet he somehow got into this prestigious school that was taking an extremely select bunch. And now his two friends actually, you can argue, got into the school on other merits, like Matsuda? I think that's
whatever his name is.
Yeah. The glasses kid is really fucking good at math. And the not glasses kid is a really good runner. So those are both merits they could have gotten into the school on, while we're shown Issei has no fucking merits and makes no sense that he would end up in this school because he's not diligent, he's not smart, he doesn't have a good personality, he's a degenerate as far as the public society goes, and he's openly degenerate, which is a problem in Japan.
I mean, it's a problem in lots of places.
Right. But there's a bit of a difference between the weird guy that's clearly looking at porn in your class in America and the weird kid that's looking at porn in your class in Japan. Completely different cultures, completely different importance on propriety, especially at a private, exclusive school. It would be like in the 90s or the 80s showing up to a Christian school like in full-on goth and worship the devil tattoos. Blah blah blah, there are good stories out there, blah blah blah, Sasuke type backstories, cringe. I did that too with my story, but I made it twisty.
That's not a good thing.
Not many DxD stories are good. Yeah, it's because DxD isn't good, so it's hard to make a good story out of a bad fic. Blah blah blah, better powers, usual harems. Harems, of course there'll be harems. This is DxD, what do you take me for? Cringe. How much of this chapter is just an AN? Not much. I would
Surprisingly
say
little of it, actually.
maybe maybe a 12. Not much. Key, don't tell Nerdy about this. It's our little secret. Oh yes, naming them repetitively definitely is a great way to keep it secret. The harem will be everyone from canon. Cringe. There will also be additional ones, like all of the fallen angels that were killed off. Kuroka is also going to be in this.
Cringe.
Yeah, big cringe. Power reigns supreme as long as you have it. Someone who is smarter cannot defeat you. Ajuka would beg to differ. He is literally, I am so smart, I have calculated the entire universe. Like, that's how smart Ajuka is. And this author is straight shit sitting here and being like, smart people can't win in this story. Strength beats it all. One of the strongest people. Okay. So I see they didn't really learn much. Hey, at least their grammar is better.
That's true.
Someone who is more skilled.
I gotta go do the garbage because it's Tuesday. I'll be right.
If you're stronger,
Actually, you know
someone
what? No,
who is more skilled cannot outskill you. That's absolutely false. and someone who is more worthy cannot have more than you. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean, but that is clearly untrue on many fronts. What? A lie that has been told and festered and reinforced through the ages. The only reason this lie has survived so long is the ones that wise enough to tell it are on the wrong side. What? Also, author, I think you really need to sit down and read Starship Troopers. Because everyone knows that violence is the root of all authority. And power does in fact reign supreme. But power is not judged by how much weight you can carry. It's judged by the people you know, the tools you have, and how you use it. In this world, there is no right side. That is also patently false. Heaven and hell and even other places on earth conspire against the truth. What is the truth? The truth that his power is not absolute. The one God Okay, holy shit, this author is dropping some really hot takes on DxD.
A bit spicy.
Yeah, fucking like radioactive. It is not the almighty force people believe it is. Yeah, that's because you're just fucking stupid, author. You have a literal small-brained, below 80 IQ take on this. You can rewrite stars, fold the universe, but there will always be a means to achieve it.
What are you smoking?
What? Sure, you can build a sofa or make a computer, but there will always be a way to build one. Yes? Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Yes, obviously there is a way to fold space if someone can do it. If someone is capable of doing something, obviously there is a means of doing it. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Get the fucking crack pipe out of your asshole, author. Jesus Christ. Even if you can erase someone's existence and predict the future, there is always a way for your power to be defeated. Yeah, obviously.
That's the way it always is.
Entropy is the true king. All it takes is the right person, the right wrench in Destiny's cogs for that to happen. Or just Destiny's cogs. I mean, if you're really gonna bring Destiny into this bullshit, then someone just being in the right place at the right time is exactly as Destiny said they would be, is enough to ruin you. Yes. If you're really gonna bring Destiny into this, you don't need to throw a cog in the works. You don't need to be some sort of like mystical fate breaker.
You could be the average Joe that just fires the bullet that kills the devil.
Right, exactly. Like if you're really gonna bring Destiny into this, maybe Average Joe was always meant to kill the devil. Maybe that was his destiny. Like, the author, you are defeating your own arguments. What will you do when you find yourself suddenly powerless? You're not powerless, you're just countered. There's a complete difference there. Powerless is like if you're made of fire and someone pours an ocean on you. Yeah, then you're powerless. But if your ability is to snap your fingers and disapparate someone, and they take away your ability to disapparate someone, you can still snap your fingers and disapparate other people, maybe. But not that person. That doesn't mean you're powerless.
Or snap your fingers and teleport yourself away until it wears off.
Right, that too. Well, you know, maybe you're a wizard and they throw up an anti-magic field around you. Technically, you're powerless. Air quotes, heavy air quotes. Anti-magic field doesn't prevent you from punching them or running out of the anti-magic field. I mean, yeah, sure, if you're like knocked unconscious, your powers are taken away, and you're tied up, yeah, then I'll be like, yeah, you're powerless then, but that's because they literally prevented every other access to the ability to wield violence. Like,
Yes, sir.
oh god. What will you do when you find yourself at the other end of the spectrum, the one being at the mercy of another's mood? What will you do when you have it all, then you have nothing? Would you curse the one who did this to you? Would you blame another? Would you blame yourself? Why would you start playing the blame game? Would you mock yourself as a weakling? I mean, maybe if you were dumb. All of these answers are correct in the end, yet wrong. My answer is that there is no one but yourself to blame, not for being weak, but from looking from high down on everything else and thinking yourself untouchable. I mean, yeah, pride comes before the fall, but that's not some major philosophical take off it. That's like literally tens of thousands of years old. The Epic of fucking Gilgamesh. Power breeds arrogance, and if you allow your arrogance to take root, then that will be your downfall. Yes, well, we covered this. Control yourself before controlling your power, or maybe control your power and control yourself at the same time. I mean, doesn't have to be one before the other. Die and stay dead, Red Dragon Emperor whispered a figure as they stood next to a house, setting it on fire, killing them all in their sleep. The bedroom of the parents, the flames found its way inside and the room lit up instantly, somehow. The figure turned around and walked away and they vanished in the thin air as the flames spread around the house, consuming them all. And then Issei woke up and the fire was covering everything and everything was burning and he's like, oh my god, everyone's dead and burning. And he tried getting out and then the door was locked and he was like, oh my god, why is the door locked? And then for some reason he didn't unlock the door despite the fact that the door would be locked from the inside and he's inside, so he could just open the door. I'm not really sure how this is a high intensity moment. He's at the front door. Just unlock the door and walk out. Okay, so anyway, smoke is growing. And he couldn't breathe anymore. And so he ran to the bathroom and locked the door behind him, thinking that would stop the fire. For some reason. And so instead of unlocking the front door and running out, he just runs back into the fire and hides in the bathroom. I mean, technically speaking, if you turned the shower on and crawled into the tub and just kept the cold water going, you'd have a decent chance at surviving. I suppose the water would probably keep the air churning. That wouldn't help you on the oxygen angle, of course. But, you know, it'd be something. Issei collapsed on the floor, and smoke's filling his room, and he's dying. And he's like, forceful activation of void gaming system detected. Subject awakened system prematurely due to stress. Error downloading skill. Download success. Ultimate unique skill, King of Solomon. So it's a game system, and Yeah, so he does exactly what I said. He jumps in the tub and turns on the cold water. Blah blah blah. Plumbing held allowed him to survive. Blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Mindscape. Blah blah blah. King Solomon. Blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. You're dead. Why would Issei know who the fuck King Solomon is? He's like 8.
He's 8 years old and he's Japanese. And he's not Christian.
I mean, like, maybe you could say, oh, clearly, like, because of Arana, he knows about King Solomon, but that's kind of cringy. And, Solomon's like, yes, I know I'm dead. No, like, you've been dead for years. Tell me what year it is. 2011, after Christ, sir. I mean, yeah, I guess you could blame Arana for this, but, like, again,
He's 8.
he's 8.
He's 8. He wouldn't be saying after Christ. He'd just be saying 2011, and at most.
Yeah, he would say 2011, yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then Solomon gasped and dropped his cane and stumbled a bit, and he's like, oh my god, you're not lying. I can tell, but after Christ, the Son of God, I'm not religious, but I know the story. For some reason. You couldn't even say my brother Arana, my brother in blood Arana. But... Yeah, okay, so yeah, she was the one to tell them again. She. So
Yeah.
the author's not really. The author's playing fast and loose with it. Got it.
It'd been better if he went with a higher age than 8 for that.
A little bit, yeah.
Eh,
Maybe
on
10,
both
12.
accounts.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
as
my
it
god,
is,
blah
it's
blah
way
blah.
too young for this type of thing.
Blah blah blah. Gift and wisdom. His wisdom was back. Was that not his punishment? Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Your story is written in the Bible. Blah blah blah. Ah, it also tells that you have captured and enslaved many demons, but I think that is a biblical exaggeration since demons do not exist, Issei said. Ah, yes, this is a very eloquent 8-year-old.
Yeah, that's...
Biblical exaggeration. Yeah, find me an 8-year-old that can say that.
That can say that and would know what the fuck it means. Because there's probably an 8-year-old that can say it, but they wouldn't understand what the hell it means because they're just parodying it.
No, yeah, more or less, yeah, that's true, yeah, fair enough. Demons exist, blah blah blah, all the supernatural stuff exists, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah, cringe, blah blah blah, fire, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, Issei fire, I don't know, blah blah blah, Issei fire, someone started the fire, why would someone start the fire, they're trying to kill you, Issei, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah, cringe. And then suddenly, Issei's second sacred gear woke up, and it was the boosted gear. And Solomon's like, oh my god, Drake? And Drake's like, oh my god, Solomon? And they're like, wow, I can't believe it. It's been so long since we've seen each other, and we're best friends.
Yeah, that's kind of what old friend means. Means with the olden times.
Yes.
God fucking damn it.
Blah blah blah, sacred gears, blah 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 blah, and then explained all the sacred gears. Is this why my parents were killed? Blah blah blah, yes, blah blah blah. Don't tell me it happened again. Another one of my hosts was assassinated. Well, again, nobody knew Issei had the sacred gear until he awakened it. At most, even someone like Kaneko, who has got the ability to tell people who have supernatural blood, could only
Because
smell
he
the
can smell the
faint
damn
whiff
thing.
of dragon on him. And that was only after he had matured to the point where the sacred gear could start coming out of his soul naturally, without stress inducement.
Yeah, because Issei was pathetically weak.
Yeah. Blah 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 blah. The story of DXD. Blah 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 8. Blah 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 14. Yeah. See again. Oh yes, anyone is able to awaken the boosted gear was 14, not a year earlier. Spark of power, pried it open, boosted gear early, concentrate, blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Issei, it's time for you to train and become strong. Cringe. That's my review to this story. Cringe. Posted review. Alright, everyone.
Yay.
This is where we sign off. We'll see you on Friday. Friday? Right? Yeah, Friday. Yeah, today's Tuesday.
Friday.
See you on Friday because there is always more, and it always gets worse.